Tanya Schwartzman. I'm the piano teacher and the director of the Music Academy. I'm teaching piano for more than 40 years. Today, kids that are going to play scales, they started with my book. And I want to tell you right away, they're not going to dazzle you with ferocity or velocity. There's still ways and ways to learn how to play scales well, like a virtuosa. But one thing I hope, and I think I achieved it, children love the book, they look at it, and each one learns from this book differently. I invited a few very, very young pianists, they're 5, 6, and everybody does something different with that book. Who wants to look at the book and doesn't have it in their hands? I have books for everybody. Some kids learn because of the pictures. Some kids learn because they have very good finger memory. Some kids learn from the book because they have very, very high intellect and they appreciate intellectually. Different ways. I just give the book, I let children look at the pictures because, again, it's targeted towards the children who are 4 and 5 and cannot read and cannot read the music text. So if the children can read the notes, it's practically pointless. So it's a little bit about the book, but my teaching is hands-on experience, and I will tell about book more hands-on when children will play. So I will ask children to play scales and will ask them, please ask them questions. I will ask questions so you see what children learned from the book. You know that you all have young students, you deal with young students, and you know that the age of the beginning is getting younger and younger. Kids are 3.5, 4, 5, they're already learning. And scales is the foundation of the music. Any piece, whatever piece you take, always have a scale in it. I don't know a piece that doesn't have a scale, a piece of a scale. Or the structures that come from scale, triads, arpeggi. It's just heart and soul of music. So how to get those kids to learn those skills already and make something that sounds quite boring? I think on the surface, how to make it more exciting, more interactive, more engaging. Let's see. I wanted to ask first, Albert Chen. I think you have his name on the program. Albert Chen, when I showed him a book, he took it home, and in a week, he has lessons once a week. He came and he says, I went through the whole book. I played every scale there is. That's what Albert says. Again, we're not going to dazzle you with tempos or with the power, or we just show what the book potentially can develop in kids. But I think kids are quite awesome. Albert, can you show the scales? We came up with a wonderful way to connect scales between themselves. Every scale has a triad, a broken chord, or I like to call it a scale with holes, and then they change a triad into the 7, and that 7 is a bridge to the next scale. So maybe they don't realize, but they're already learning the circle of fifths or the circle of fourths that older musicians know so well. We begin from B major, the way Chopin did it, because B major is so good for your hand. Your hand feels right at home there. It's a very, very convenient position to begin with. wants to play a little piece to show that scales and arpeggi are included in the music, even played with little kids. And if you want to ask any question, like one or two, so you see that they're not just trained, children not just trained, and it's not a drill. Children understand what they're doing. So if you want to ask the questions, they will think and try to answer. Maybe they will answer wrong, but they learn to think and to analyze. Play just a few lines from your sonatina. Sonatina by Benda, because there are scales and arpeggi there. May I ask Cheng to play his scale? Yes? Cheng will do something else. He will play B major, and I asked him to play all 4 octaves. And again, it's not to dazzle. It's just to say that the book has potential, and kids have potential. We do teach the kids to move the arms as a straight line, not to wiggle. And he's getting there. It all takes a long, endless thumb, limp and low thumb that are endless. And in few months, it's going to be even better. But to teach how to use very stretchable limbs, I have my friend Gorilla, and my older kids, they know to use, when I say use gorilla thumb. You can stretch and then get back in shape. And that's what we want from our hands. We want them to be stretchable and resilient. Shane learned something else from that book. It has lots of pages with a music staff, with manuscript papers, and we used it for intervals. Cheng knows every single interval. He can play intervals in C major, from second to octave. And when his hand is stretching, he can use both hands. And there's a piece that has lots of intervals. You ask him, he will find out any interval. Do you have your book? He has a book, in case you want to check me out. Tyler. Tyler is going to play 2 scales, in D and in A. And why? That's a music science. Why does he play D major and A major? He knows. did you pick D major and A major? Are you brave? Say it. Say it loud. You have a piece. Do you? He has a piece of music that begins in
D major,
and then modulates in,
A major,
and there are scales and arpeggi in it. And that's from Bach, a march. We're not going to play the whole piece, but we're going to begin in D and finish in A. Children, no change of key, modulation. Go ahead, Tyler. I'm grateful. That book, it's like 3 or 4 books in one. It's a textbook with scales. It's a manuscript book where you can make children write the notes, write the intervals. It is a coloring book just as well. And it works on the imagination because every scale is like an animal. Duck for D major or butterfly for B major. And those pictures, they show exact the path the pianist moves his fingers, which path we move the fingers along. And we ask children to use imagination and create their own animals that would be good for learning scales. So Spencer came up with quite a number of animals. Do you want me to read out loud? Yes. C major, there's Anne the cat. Cockroach? No way. That's too creative the way I see. G major. And there's a goose. And there's a giraffe. And they all go the path that goes over the F sharp. And for the D major, what do you have, Spencer?
I have a dog and a dinosaur and a dangerfly.
A dog and who else? Spencer, we didn't hear, sorry. So
Speak
you have
up.
a dog?
A dinosaur and a dangerfly.
Dinosaur and the damselfly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Damselfly?
it's a different type. It's like a dragonfly, but it's another food.
Yes. In what scale do you like? Spencer likes C major. I'm talking to teachers. Teachers can use those keyboards to outline whatever they want. Mirror-like motion, parallel motion, fingering for the left hand, fingering for the right hand, or the path of the chromatic scale. We have a girl that is playing chromatic scale, and it was conveniently written on top of one of the keyboards. Yes? Please.
Caitlin.
Thank you. Caitlin is playing chromatic scale. Thank you. So if you have any questions about my book, I'm ready to answer, or if you have any questions to kids. Like
Why is it so important again? Why is it so important?
the best question. Yes, it's to the point.
Why it's so important?
So important. There's not a single piece of music that's neither scale nor chords. They are pieces like Scrabble, to mix and match and to say any word in English or international music language. Today there are a few performances by the older kids. And we picked the music, not that we picked on purpose, but we noticed that every piece has substantial amount of scales, chords, and arpeggi. Are there in your piece? How many times you went up and down the D flat major? Ballpark. Ballpark. More than 2, more than 5, more than 10?
Probably more than 5.
More than 5, definitely more than 5. Lots of chords.
I think it's just like, whatever, okay, it was really hard to motivate myself every day. It was mostly my mom, thank you, Mom. But once you get to the performance, you feel so good after, and then after you just want to play more.
Excellent. So, wonderful. What an answer. Did you hear what you said?
Yes.
That after you play, that's когда ты уже закончил свое исполнение, вот тогда я люблю больше всего, как я чувствую, и тогда я хочу играть больше. That's a very, very smart answer. And you have an answer too. What do you like most? Please. Because you were, no? I misunderstood. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Would you like?
I like it because it's really fun.
Because it's fun. Because it's fun? That's why you like it.
Back and
Back and forth. Oh, remember he played the scale which started back and forth? Yeah.
What about treats? In the Music Academy, there's always treats laying around.
I asked you, Miss Director, not to answer my question.
That's why I'm compelled.
Okay. All right. So thank you all very, very much. I hope to see you and hear you, every one of you, and maybe someone else to play next year also at our Marshall Room or another hall of Boston University. We'll be happy to have you here or in Moscow or in St. Petersburg. All right? Okay, then Zora Suker wants to say something. She will be giving a master class at your academy, at our university, at the New England School of Music, and now she wants to say
Что
something.
я не владею, к сожалению, английским языком,
She
поэтому не
doesn't
смогу,
speak
да,
English, but
переводить,
she
да.
will say something and I will translate.
Я просто хотела поблагодарить за то огромное впечатление, которое я сегодня получила.
I would like to thank for this enormous, that I had today, and express my gratitude to you.
И от самых маленьких, что
From the
они
very little ones.
гаммы играют не просто неформально, это слышно, они интонируют,
That
они
you
играют
play the way you play
музыкально.
scales, like you play the real music, very musically you play scales.
Это очень важно.
It's very
Очень
important.
важно. И, конечно, и репертуар, и что вообще все ребята, хоть они все разные, но чувствуется почерк педагога.
And even though the repertoire, the pieces chosen were very different, but I could feel the pedagogue in each one of you, one pedagogue.
И самое главное, что,
And
мне
what's
кажется,
most
что
important,
и педагог, и ученики получают большое удовольствие от процесса. А
that
это самое
the
главное.
teacher and the students are enjoying the process, and this is the most important.
Спасибо.